Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC, and I'm back with another tough review for you, and it's season 31 and we've got some exciting coaches for you. We've got Conor, the notorious McGregor, and Michael Iron Mike Chandler. So this one's going to be an interesting one. It's a lot better than last year's coaches. No offense to obviously Nunes and Pena, but come on now, we've got the return of Conor McGregor. And we've got the always exciting Michael Chandler. So, without further ado, I hope you're all okay. And I'm going to dive straight into this. Let's jump on over here. Hope you're doing well, as I mentioned before. So, this season, we've got 155ers and 135ers. And how it works, how they've done it this season, they've got 155 veterans, which is ex-UFC fighters that are trying to make their way back into the UFC. And we've also you've got your prospects, so the guys that are coming up and trying to showcase themselves and showcase their skills and trying to impose their will on these veterans. And like Chandler said it the best. It's this last chance really for these veterans to try and get back into the UFC. Like there's a few names, just to name a few. If I go through a few, there's a few obviously 155s and 135ers. You got Jason Knight, who obviously, when he left the UFC, went to bare knuckle and did quite well over there. He's obviously fought the likes of Dan Hooker and Alex Caceres, who is actually fighting this weekend. Austin Hubbard, again, he went 3-4 in the UFC, so not the best record, but again, it is another veteran. You've got Timo Valiev, 135. Again, he was a great prospect, and he's fought some top names in the bantamweight division. He beat Ronnie Barcelos as well. So again, these are top veterans that are in the game that are, as I said before, trying to make their way back into the UFC, and these prospects are gonna try and stop them. So I can't wait to dive into it. As I mentioned, the classic coin toss always happens at the start of the old tough season, and who do you believe won the coin toss? Conor McGregor wins the coin toss, so he gets to pick the first category. So he either picks if he wants the veterans or if he wants the prospects, and he decided to go for prospects, and he picked the 155 prospects to start off with. So that means automatically that Chandler got the veterans 135, but because Conor won the coin toss, that means that Chandler picks the next category, and he chose to stick with what he's got, and he picked a 135 veteran. So it's all veterans versus all prospects. So Conor McGregor has all of the 155 and 135 prospects, and Michael Chandler has 155 veterans and 135 veterans. So it's going to be an interesting show. Like I just said a second ago, we've got all ex-UFC veterans fighting all these new prospects. Again, it's going to be an exciting season. So that's how the show started off. And then the classic, they all go into the old fighter house. Again, all excited, running around the house, running around the old fighter house. What's up, Nolan? Hope you're doing well, sir. I can't unfortunately get the chats up. There's something going on with obviously my end. God knows what's going on, but I hope you're doing well, buddy. And as I mentioned, they get into the fighter house, and then they all get an important training session in, and this is where the coaches get to rank their fighters between 1 and 4. And when I mean rank them between 1 and 4, they're meant to put their best fighter in at number 1, and I'm not going to say worst fighter in number 4 because they're all obviously decent fighters, otherwise they wouldn't be there. But yeah, they're meant to have their best fighter in at number 1 and at least at number 4. But is it going to play it that way? Are they going to play mind games and have their so-called worst at number 4, so it all matches up and all? Again, this is Conor McGregor, so he could be playing mind games with the matchups. What I will say is, though, early doors, Michael Chandler is looking like a very good coach. He's brought in a very good team. He's brought in Ryan Bader. Again, he's been there and done it, former contestant on the Ultimate Fighter. So, again, he's brought in a good team. And obviously, Conor McGregor's brought his own John Kavanagh and his team. But I just, from early doors, Michael Chandler, the way he drills his fighters and everything like that, it's just to behold. But as I mentioned before, with all the teams are there, and I said just a second ago, so all the teams looked through the training session. They did a bit of sparring, bit of grappling, and as I said a second ago, both coaches assessed their teams and ranked them 1 to 4. So how it goes would whoever would pick a ranked fighter at if they put it at number 1, it would fight the other team's number 4, and then number 2 would fight number 3, and so on. So again, that's why I'm saying there could be some sort of mind games there, if you get what I mean. Jumping on then, just an interesting fact for everyone. We had this Brad Cota, which is on Chandler's team, former veteran, and actually the former winner of Tough 27, to be in fact, a former winner of the show that is on Chandler's team, but he trains out of SBG and trains with Conor. So is there going to be a bit of animosity between them two there? Obviously, he trains at Conor's gym, trains with all the people that train there at SBG. So is there going to be a bit of animosity between them? Is there going to be any mind games in there? Let me hear your thoughts on that, because that is an interesting one. Obviously, he popped up and said that he's there to win it and he wants to win it. He can put his teammates to the side. He wants to go all the way. And as I said a second ago, he won season 27. So could he be the first ever contestant to win 2 Tough? Imagine winning two Armour fighters. Obviously, it's hard enough winning 1, let alone 2. So that's impressive in itself. If Brad can go on and win it again, could you imagine? Let's hear your thoughts on that. That's crazy. As I said a second ago, we've got the fighters up there, and they all rank their fighters. All the matchups have been done. Hopefully you can see that the best you can, but as I just mentioned there, when I said the numbers will marry up, obviously you meant to rank number 1, then that will fight 4, and so on. As you can see there, you can see who's on Team Chandler, obviously all the veterans, and on McGregor, all of the prospects, and those are the matchups that are going to be up throughout the season. Cannot wait to get into them. There's a few great matchups in there. But as you see at the top there, we've got the matchups, which was the first one, which is Roosevelt Roberts versus Nate Journeyman. We're going to get into that. That's the fight we're going to get into. That is the fight we're going to get into. So this is the first fight that is for season 31. As I mentioned a second ago, Roosevelt Roberts versus Nate Journeyman. You've got Nate there on the right-hand side, who is Team Chandler, and Nate of Team Conor. Like they did last season, we had a little bit of background story of the fighters. Obviously, Nate, up and coming. We saw a little bit of background of him and on his way up to where he is now. And obviously, we saw a little bit of Roberts in the UFC. And obviously, he went 2-0 in the UFC, and it was very impressive, like the fights that he was coming out with. And again, he's a very good striker, an explosive striker. He's very tall, as you see there. He's very tall for the 155 division. Again, it could play dividends in this fight. It could play dividends in any matchup. Just the size of him, the length, the range. Is he going to use that in this fight? Who knows? We're going to get into that in a second. And as Jordan put in a second ago, any spoilers? Well, we've got through it. So, but yeah, let's get that out of the way. Interesting fact as well. I'll leave that there, actually. Interesting fact, like I said, these two got that all-important training session in, or all dialed down on what they want to do. And as I said at the start of this, Michael Chandler dialing in on tactics that he needs to do. And really dialing in, and I said this last season when I thought that Pena was a better coach than Nunes, and I see it early doors with Chandler. He's a very, very good coach, and he's got a very good team behind him as well. I just think he's going to come out on top, just coaching-wise, with ahead of Conor. Bearing in mind, Conor's been there and done it. He's coached on my fight before. But I just think that Chandler's is there to win the show, and he's there. He's very competitive. So I just think early doors he's going to be a very good coach. Raphael, what's up, mate? Oh, just to let everyone know, I'm wearing the Ultimate Fighter representing. But yeah, as I said a second ago, they all got that all-important training session in, dialed in on that, and as you know, they've all got to make weight, so they both head to the scales. Both fighters made weight, but Conor McGregor was a no-show, so that's an interesting. The first fight on the season. And Conor McGregor is not there to support his team and not there to support his fighter in Nate there. Chandler's there. He was surprised that there was a no-show from Conor. Is Conor playing mind games early doors? As I said a second ago, is he going to be playing mind games throughout the season? Who knows? But like I just said a second ago, Chandler being there, he's going to be there supporting his team, supporting his fighters. Conor, no-show. Is that going to play? Is that going to be a factor into the season where Conor's not going to be bothered? who knows? Again, let me hear your thoughts in the chats about this season. Let me hear you. Let me see if you saw the matchups a second ago. Well, we'll keep bringing them out for bringing them back up, just so you can see if you can pick out a standout, see who you think could go all the way potentially. But me personally, I just think that Chandler as a coach is going to be so much better than Conor. Raphael saying I really like it, and it was a great see the fast scale. We're going to get into that in a second. We're going to get into that. As I said a second ago, they both made weight. Let's get into the fight then. Let's get into the fight. So, Raphael just mentioned a second ago, we had a very fast start from Roberts. 8 seconds to be in fact. So we get into the fight, round one. First 8 seconds, first 2 seconds, should I say, Roberts lands an overhand right that sort of stumbles his opponent in Nate, wobbles him back, and then Roberts goes in for the kill. Lands a straight right, which drops his opponent Nate, and then 2 ground and pound shots, puts the lights out. And what can we say? Like I just said about the range to start with, obviously, overhand right, he can throw that from anywhere with the range that he has, and it landed flush. And as we see there, what a finish from Roberts. Chandler goes 1-0 up already into the season. What more can I say? 8 seconds. Usually when I go for these breakdowns, I like to see sort of what sort of game plan they're going to have into it. But what can I say? 8 seconds into the fight, Roberts gets it done. Fair play to him. Like I said, his long, rangy style, explosive, striking sort of offense is going to be a problem in this season. And I can't wait to see him fight again. If that's the kind of show we're going to see from him early doors, what can we expect from him going into a next fight? But let me just have a little look over here to the chats. Let's have a little. Unfortunately, as I said a second ago, unfortunately, I can't bring them up. But Nolan Zebra says, not sure. It's certainly shaping up nicely for him. I had to skip it back as I looked away and missed the whole fight. Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. Even before I watched, because obviously it comes out earlier over in the US, literally all over my Twitter, it was so like the KO just boom out, and that was it. That's all she wrote. Welcome in, Charles Barkley. Unfortunately, I can't get your chats up, but welcome in. I actually like the footage from the other Tough better than the stuff they showed during the episodes. I don't care much for the fighter backstories, and like to see the coaching and the raw set footage. Well, yeah, exactly. It's one of them things I think they've just kind of implemented, just trying to get a story of obviously the up and coming fighters. Obviously, if you've seen some of the fighters I mentioned earlier, obviously the UFC veterans. You may have heard of them before and you've sort of known of them. But yeah, for the prospects, it's kind of nice to see where they come from. There's some of them that haven't come from much, that are fighting in lower promotions and have had this opportunity. And hopefully let's see if these prospects can take this opportunity and take it away from these UFC veterans, as I said. But as I said a second ago, Roberts moving on, as we see there. Hopefully you can see it to the best of your ability there. As I said a second ago, representing the old Ultimate Fighter. Hopefully we're going to have an exciting season. Roberts moving on then. As we see there, he's lighting up there on the right, my right hand side. And unfortunately, Nate losing his first fight. Again, who knows, someone could pull out. He could get another opportunity. It's happened in the past. But as you see below there, we move on to the 135ers, and we've got Trevor Wells of Team Conor taking on Timo Valiev of Team Chandler. That is going to be the next fight. As I said a second ago, interesting fight. Obviously, Valiev is a heavy wrestler. I've not seen much of Trevor. I will do some tape on him, obviously, for the second episode. Towards a second episode, just to see ins and outs of how he sort of fights. But obviously, we all know Valiev is a very heavy style wrestler. He's more wrestling heavy than he is striking. But again, we're going to see these improvements from Valiev. This is why he's come back to show he's striking and not just a heavy wrestler. Again, I'm very excited to see how he plays out in this fight. Very interested. Telly Young says, I've missed the first episode, but I'm expecting Mike to be the much better coach. Exactly, I just said that a second ago, buddy. Welcome in. We've missed you, Taylor Young. We have missed you, sir. Where have you been? I hope you're doing well, mate. Charles Barkley, after tough was cool, though Dean Thomas and Rashad Evans were funny and showed more raw footage. Yeah, it's one of them things where from back in the day, like I was saying to Jordan earlier, from back in the day, obviously the Nate Diaz times and things where you would have fights in the house and things like that. They're the sort of olden days of the golden days, should we say, of obviously the Ultimate Fighter, and we were sort of saying it's more sort of staged as it is now, if you get what I mean, if that's the right word to use. But yeah, you can't beat the tough of old. As I said, fights in the house and obviously pranks and things like that. But again, let's hopefully we can get some of that during this season. I'm just going to take myself back to the main screen. So, but hopefully we can get some of that during this season. Obviously, I said a second ago that the Conor McGregor has coached before. I'm interested to see if there is any differences in coaching style. As we know before, obviously, when he coached before, old Artem Lobov, obviously, sort of just stuck with him. And it felt like he just neglected the other fighters, if you understand what I mean, and just sort of focused on Artem. And it was like the Artem show, if you get what I mean. So I'm hoping that Conor has come back for a reason, come back to sort of the Conor of old, with a trash talking. We want to see that. We want to see the Conor of old. And yeah, let's hopefully that he can come back as a better coach as well. Because as some of the comments are coming in saying that we all think that Michael Chandler is going to be a better coach out of the two, and I agree. I really do think he's going to be a very good coach. Who knows? That's only obviously the first episode, as I mentioned. The second fight, Trevor Wells of Team Conor, Timo Valiev of Team Chandler. Again, are we going to see another Chandler win? He's one up in the season so far. Who knows? Charles Barkley says, it was funny Dana locked Mike and Conor in a room together for half an hour and waited for... Yeah, just lock them in the lift and see what happens. Yeah, I love that. That's class. But there's not much more I can say. Obviously, I wish I could have broke down a fight for you. Obviously, over here at ATF, we love breaking down fights. It ended in 8 seconds, so I can't really get into a fight. I wish I could have. As I said a second ago, I wish I could have broke it down for you. But if there's any other questions quickly coming in, I don't mind reading them out. Again, apologies for not bringing them up. Again, we are representing Season 31 of The Ultimate Fighter. That's not Chandler, by the way, it's Frankie. But at the weekend, we have got an all-important fight night. I can't even remember who's fighting now. Who have we got? Who have we got fighting at the weekend? I can't even remember, boys. Obviously, a second. That's it. Kai France versus Amir Obazi. Again, it's going to be a great fight. In the flyweight division, obviously, a comeback from obviously Kai France. Can he leapfrog and go again in this division? Obviously, he previously fought Moreno. Can he go again? And like I said leapfrog. Can Obazi leapfrog the division and go ahead of Kai France? We've seen many leaps before in the division. Can Obazi go and do it? He's a great striker. I can't wait to see that fight. It's going to be a great fight. Obazi versus Kai France. Cannot wait for it. Predictions for upcoming fights on Tough. So let me just go back to the side screen. Let's go into it. I think it was this one. Yes. So obviously, for the next fight, I think that Timo Valiev's gonna take it. I just think like I said earlier, I think his heavy wrestling style is going to be too much for Wells. I could be wrong though, but again, this is why it's so interesting, because we've not seen much of these prospects. We've seen some of the ex-UFC fighters I've just mentioned. Obviously, Valiev's quite a heavy wrestler sort of style fighter. Can I be proven wrong? Is Wells going to come in and absolutely do what Roosevelt Roberts did and just shop the apple cart tree? So who knows? And this is what I can't wait to sort of get into these and break them down. And can these prospects get rid of these ex-UFC fighters and get rid of them for good? It's so interesting to get into. And as I said a second ago, I cannot wait to sort of actually get into and break down a fight for you. But welcome in John Doe, and he's saying that Kai France is going to win the weekend. Again, we can't wait to break that down for you as well. Hopefully we all see you there, Taylor Young. We've missed you, sir. Hopefully you're all there. Charles Barkley, John Doe. Who else was in the chat? Raphael, hopefully you're there as well, buddy. Telly Young saying Chandler is going to be such a better coach, better motivating his fighters. He'll also pull in a wide range of coaches and training to help. Conor will probably just have his team. Yeah, but this is what I said a second ago, buddy. Like I just think bringing in certain coaches will just define on how you sort of, one, train, and two, get your fighters motivated. You said it perfectly there, mate. Like, obviously Conor's just got the same team that he had last year, which is fair enough, but you know that Conor's in there, you know that Chandler's in there to one, win the show, and two, win the fight. Obviously winning the show, being the coach that is a better coach, but bringing in someone like Ryan Bader, again, has been there and done it, and had the feeling of the Ultimate Fighter. And he's gonna, again, he can have these little chats with certain fighters when they're ready to prepare for the fight. Like, listen, obviously I've been there, I've done it. This is the pressures you're gonna have. Again, I can't wait to get to the next fight. And I agree with you, Taylor. I just think the Chandler's gonna blow him away. And like I said earlier, if you didn't join me, just with Conor missing the weigh-ins, and I've even forgot to mention, even when they were prepping. When they were wrapping the gloves and prepping, having little sparring sessions in the back, ready for the fight on fight day, Conor was late. So what kind of example does that set your team when your fight is there alone, just with your team there, and you're not there? Like, what kind of message does that show? So I'm interested to see what kind of changes that Conor can make coaching wise, and just to see how he is just in this show, because obviously we've not seen Conor for a while. I'm interested to see how he is, and obviously I will keep repeating myself, Chandler is going to be such a better coach, and I think you guys are probably going to agree with me. Nolan Zebra, I think we've already seen Mike is so more focused on his fighters by turning up to the weigh-ins. Yeah, exactly, and this is what I said a second ago. He's there, ready, motivating his fighters, and he's basically saying to these ex-fighters, this is your chance. This is not many fighters get a second chance. You got to take this opportunity with both hands and run with it. But again, this has been the first episode of the Tough Season 31 review. I'm going to be back next Wednesday. Yes, next Wednesday, because obviously next week's pay-per-view, so me and Si may go live Thursday. We will work that out. Socials in the description, so just stay tuned for that as well, because obviously me and Si will have a breakdown next week for the pay-per-view. But yeah, just last couple of comments. Charles Barkley, but Conor showed his team breathing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're all one knee, mate. One knee, breathing in, mate. Love that. That's quality. Tell you, yeah, that's ridiculous. Conor not being there, and you can tell exactly like his reaction as well when Nate lost. Wasn't even bothered. He wasn't even in the training room after consoling him or saying, "Come on, mate." Like, exactly. Again, I could go on for ages talking to you guys. You guys have been amazing. Again, apologies that I couldn't get the chats up, and apologies that I couldn't even break down a fight for you. But that's what the weekend's for. So, as I said, it's going to go Kai France versus Albazi at the weekend. Can't wait. We'll see you there. Thanks again, guys. See you next Wednesday for the second episode